Right.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Emerson. Hello.
Hello. Hi, Kim. Hello,
Hi,
everyone.
Emerson.
Hello. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
All
Yes.
right. Good, good. We're going to get started soon. There's still a few people that are trying to get in. Um, so, what's being suggested here is that this is an interruption. This is an interruption to the regular programming of beliefs, ideas, concepts, anything and everything. This is a. Don't adjust your screens. This is just a disruption. But no one's getting disrupted. Just ideas, concepts, and anything that you can think of is a disruption. This is like an emergency alert. No one's here. There's never been anyone here that you snooze off, and don't really read. So everything that is perceived, everything that is believed, everything that's conceptualized is being illuminated as something that is not real. So this disruption is not for anyone. It's just a disruption. I'm going to repeat everything, anything that you perceive, the getting it, the not getting it, the understanding, the non understanding, the confusion, the seeming clarity is being disrupted here. The one that's perceiving all of this, the me that thinks that it is real or it's not real, is being interrupted. All that there is this. And the seeming interruptions of what this is what's being disrupted. All that there is this, and there's nothing outside of this. Even the seeming idea that there's something other than this is the one that's being illuminated or disrupted. It's the same thing. Why so serious? It's like a joker in a deck of cards of seriousness. There's this seriousness about this communication that people really want to get it, really want to understand it, really want to know it, wants to become experts, wants to become critics, and that's completely all right. There's nothing wrong or right about that. But what's being expressed here is not understandable. It's not knowable. It can't be. It
Wants to
can't
become
be.
experts,
Oh,
wants to
sorry.
become critics,
There's
and
an
that's
echo
completely
there.
all right. There's nothing wrong or right.
Right. There's an echo there of nothing. So this is nothing, which is also everything. This is not a knowing. This is not anything at all. There's nothing here to get. There's nothing to do. There's nothing to figure out. Because the one that's trying to figure this out, the one that's trying to know this, is the disruptor. So this is a disruption of the disruptor, the one that's trying to disturb, the one that's trying to seemingly trying to do something, but it can't really do anything. It can't really disrupt anything because what's being expressed here, which is what's obvious, is that this is the unwavering stillness. That no matter what disruptions, no matter what kind of thinking, ideas, concepts is unreal. And why so serious again? Since there's nothing happening, there's nothing going on, this is nothing at all. And even saying this is nothing, the moment that you think you arrived at nothing, it becomes not nothing because there's also no nothing. It's really simple. It's so simple that it doesn't even have words. It's the laughter, Carol tilting her head back, someone trying to figure it out, someone wondering what am I doing here? You're not here. No one's here. There's never been anyone here. And that's what's obvious. The seemingly chaotic whatever is happening, the seemingly is actually also stillness. This is stillness, appearing as movements, appearing as nodding, appearing as shaking head, appearing as agreeing, appearing as disagreeing. Whatever is happening is not here, not happening. So before you say this is just what's happening, when it becomes an understanding, this is to disrupt that as well. Because the one that thinks that this is what's happening has made it into a happening. It's actually an unhappening and a happening simultaneously appearing, but for no one.
So Emerson, you can say it's
Hey, Anita.
it's also not happening.
No, nothing's happening. Nothing's happening. Nothing is everything. So nothing is happening. Seemingly there's everything happening, but nothing is happening.
Thank you.
If you have any questions, you can raise your hand. You can type a question as well. If you don't have any questions, that's completely all right. You can just chat. Um, although this is a disruption, everything is allowed. Question here. Emerson, how come when I come to these meetings, I'm always speechless? I don't know. I can create a story about it, but it will just be a story. This is trying to disrupt the story of I am speechless or I am not speechless. It's just a story. Um, Maybe it's disruption appearing. Chris, it's a disruption for who? No one's getting disrupted here. As I said in the beginning, it's not a disruption for anyone. It's just appearing as a disruption. No one is doing anything. No one is disrupting anyone at all. This all seems like word games. Yeah, this is just words. These words are all meaningless. They're really pointless, and that's what's being pointed out here. John Luna, go ahead, please.
How you doing, Emerson?
I'm
So
good.
I'm new. Good. I'm new to you hosting it. Yeah, I mean, being the speaker, but I'm familiar with you from the past with Paul Hederman. But so I just wanted to ask you. So you know, you're in the story of Emerson. There was a period of seeking, and having the chance to work with different teachers and this and that. And then at some point, the question ultimately, right, the seeker is a question, right? The question is a seeker. They're kind of the same in a way. And so the question dropped. And with
Yeah,
that, there's no more seeker and no more seeking.
yeah,
And I just, I'm curious in a sense of how do you, again, I know the answer will be that whatever you said will be a story. And I get that on the absolute level, but how did that finally happen for you, so that idea of, oh, it's clear, I understand, it's then there's like, even though it's what is, but the question reappears again, and somehow the seeking reappears again. There's an energy to it, a momentum to it, a conditioning to it, but somehow or another now that stops, and then there's a laughter, and then there's a lightness. I'm just curious as to that seeming backward step. Just, I don't know if you could speak on it. Maybe just you get kind
yeah,
of.
yeah. I hear what you're saying. And I can just say that everything is a story, which is, and but I'll go to the story if you like. There was some clarity here, but the words were not coming out um, clearly. I don't know if that doesn't make sense. There's clarity here, but it felt like every time speaking muddies the water of something that's already clear and obvious. Even here, it's already clear. Even speaking about this is muddying it. It's already clear. It doesn't really need any words. You can say that what's being expressed is really pointless and meaningless. This is just an expression and an illumination. That's why I'm using words like disruptions and distraction, because when people hold on to words or stories or ideas of something happened to Emerson, or there's an Emerson here, which is just an idea, or having questions or no questions or whatever, then it becomes a story, and then it reinforces the story that there is something to get, that there's something that happened to Emerson, that maybe laughter will happen or lightness will happen. It's already openness. This is all openness already. This is already clear and already um, doesn't really even require words, because what's being expressed here is already indisruptible. Yeah.
Yeah, I, I, I'm going to use words anyway,
Yeah,
just
for
because.
sure, for sure, for
Yeah,
sure.
but on an on that sort of absolute level, that's clear. But it just seems that difficult conditioning, in this body mind, has a tendency. There's a tendency for this idea of the idea of myself, okay, clearly an idea of the thought of myself trying to control or
Mm-hmm.
trying to manipulate life in some type of way to make it better. And that seems to bring me back into the story of my life, and it's more into a psychological time. And it's so I've been to that place of zero, right? I know what you talk. I've had I've that sudden intuitive or whatever you want to call it, apperception of negation. But there's a pulling. This just seems to be as potent as as that experience, which is already a problem, is the feeling is like that the person, the conditioning of the person, the mechanism of the person wants to pull back and regain control and say, well, this part of the life needs to be fixed, and then therefore becomes a feeling of separation, and so yeah.
Yeah, and I'm going to disrupt that, because what's seemingly happening there is that you have made the something that was a disruption into a story.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that the negation, all that zero thing, all of that became an experience of an experiencer.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
everything is carried, right? It's everything that you just told me is fable, and then you're
Right.
making it real every time that you bring it out. There's nothing wrong or right about that, but so I think I'm not really sure. Is that it? Maybe Tony Parsons said that having a glimpse is actually horrible because you're always waiting for that experience to happen.
Right.
But what
Right.
happened did not really happen because it did not happen to anyone. So trying to make it real, trying to make it into a happening, which is really a non-happening, which is basically the seeing that nothing happens and everything happens at the same time, but there's no seer behind that. There was an
Right.
apparent disruption of this programming that I am going through time and space. The I or the me is seen as something that is null and void. But
Right.
the moment that the me comes back and makes it into a story, tries to perceive what happened and tries to make it into a special thing, that something special happened to me, I want that. So it becomes kind of like an intoxication or almost like a drug, thinking that I want to get there again. But there's no
Right.
you to get anywhere because there's nothing outside of this. You're
Right.
thinking
Right.
of something that is, thinking that you think that something's outside of this, but everything that you just told me is just a story. It's a narrative trying to express on how do I get that narrative back.
Right.
Yeah?
There's the mechanism of the claiming is coming in. It's just like
Yeah.
claiming, like it's
There's
like
no
something happened.
mechanism actually. There's actually no claiming. It's just what's happening, right?
It's just what's
There's
happening.
no
Right.
before. Yeah, it's just conceptual again. You're thinking that there is something, you know, um, it's happening, a cause and effect, a claiming or something. You can also say that, but I just wanted to express that this is all that there is.
Right.
So anything that arises, anything that seems to show up is also this. I can
Yeah.
use words like emptiness. This is emptiness already appearing as whatever mechanisms you think of or anything that is being perceived is already emptiness. It's already wholeness. So there's nothing lacking at all. So thinking that something is lacking is making something real. That's also
Yeah.
unreal. Yeah.
Okay. So thinking that something is lacking is a
Mm-hmm.
habit that's ingrained in conditioning. I know it doesn't actually have any actual reality, and it just appears as it
Mm.
appears and then goes. I guess, and again, not, I don't. Again, words are not going to capture it, but
No.
it's this a verticality. It's just like, and it's this habit of like the horizontal, and it's just like, yeah, right now, right now, right now, right now. It's just,
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
you can't get away from what you are.
No,
So
because the me can't get out of the me because the me is always the me,
right,
but it's not really there. Does that make any
right,
sense? It doesn't
yes,
actually. The me can't get
and
out of the me, the self can't get out of the self, the dream can't get out of the dream, the illusion can't get out of the illusion because the illusion is that I am real, that I'm experiencing this, that I am here, but no one's here. That there is an experience of time and space of A to B, there's an experience of time that happened in the past, then I can go somewhere in the future that something will happen. It's already happening and not happening at the same time, simultaneously. It's not something that, there is a past of a brilliance or an illumination, or there's no past. So what was seemingly seen in the past is also appearing as this. But you put a specialness in seemingly what happened, because none of that really happened. There's a specialness, or kind of like I used this earlier, kind of cool. You think that time is A to B, right? There's a linear.
Right.
It's like this.
Yeah.
It
That's it.
disappears.
Yeah. Everything vanishes. Yeah.
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 Nothing's happening. So
Yeah.
the idea that here and there, or before and after, are just ideas, are just fairy tales in trying to keep the story alive.
Right.
There's nothing wrong or right about that. It's just a dream, right? But it's what's being expressed here, that this is an explosion and an implosion apparently happening and also not happening.
What and I just, the sense to me is like, speaking, just conventionally, just for the sake of conversation, but it's like, this sounds to me like you're kind of just destructing the whole conceptual framework. It's just like, that's what's that, you know what I mean? Like, it's a lot of it is just hang up on words and on ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And that's all superimposed or whatever. And even that's
no.
again
Yeah.
coming and going. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not really a distraction. It's already distracted. It's not there. It's
Yeah,
just
exactly.
trying to put a spotlight on something that is not happening.
Right.
Really. Yeah.
That's a much better way. Yep. Okay. Yeah, that's great, Emerson. Thank you.
All
It's
right,
really cool.
John.
Yeah.
But not a question, but I thought serious is happening, and some sensations also apparently happening related to being serious. Yeah, it's just, the serious or non-serious, or, it's just, again, ideas about something that is just really still. Everything is allowed. There's nothing wrong or right about that. Hello, Emerson. Love you so much. Love you too, Tanya. What is conditioning? Is the character made up of just conditioning thoughts? Um, Again, you know what? To try to understand a concept, and then by making it into another concept, makes the concept real. So conditioning is another concept trying to make the me real, the character real, as it appears that it came from conditions. So it's thinking again from A to B, when this is just this. There's no here and there. There's no conditioning. Conditioning there's implies that there's a time. Um, oh, sorry, my volume is low. Is that better? Okay. Someone raised their hand earlier. Did someone raise their hand? Did I just miss it? Tanya goes, shut down. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Steve goes, disruption is the death of continuity for no one. Yes, because there's no one, it doesn't really continue. There's seemingly a continuous, the me wakes up in the morning, the me wakes up at night, but really there's no me. So no one really wakes up, no one really sleeps. Cool hat, thank you. How does sound arise from nothing? I have no idea. Uh, this is stillness or silence appearing as sound simultaneously. And there's an obviousness to it. When it's seen that this is timelessness, so this apparent sound is actually also timelessness. But no one can understand timelessness because everyone can only just think in time. It's um, after becoming non-dual, what is the aim of life? No one becomes non-dual. Absolutely no one becomes non-dual. Should you date someone who is non-dual? Uh, it'll be like dating death, death dating death. It's nothing dating nothing. It's just dating happening. So there's no should or should not. Dating happens for no one. Romance happens for no one, but there's no one that ever had a relationship. It's just what's happening. I don't even know the words relationship now anymore because everything is seemingly just appearing as this that we call whatever. Um, there are no non-dual teachers. These are just appearances again. If you think that the question was who's the best non-dual teacher, I have no idea because I don't really see any teachers. There are no one here. So an idea, thinking that there is a teacher or there's a speaker, just again reinforces that there is a me and you, that there's a seeker and there's the speaker. Really, there's no speaker and there's no seeker. All that there is this sounds appearing, seemingly coming out of nowhere, apparent listening to no one. So it's just all a play of emptiness. Emptiness appearing as sounds, or infinity infinitely appearing as whatever. So all I can say, or the answer that I can actually say is just, I don't know. What do you exactly mean by nothing is happening? It means Russia is not invading Ukraine. What's being meant by nothing is happening is this immediacy, this directness, this. In the dream, there is an apparent happening, so it's the happening and the non-happening appearing simultaneously. So in this unhappening, simultaneously there is an invasion apparently happening in Ukraine. In this non-happening, there could be a fire in the building, and the character in the building gets out and calls the fire department, the fire truck. It's just what's happening. It's kind of like in a nighttime dream. Nothing is happening, but everything seems to be happening for real. In the nighttime dream, there could be a war, there could be an apocalypse, there could be whatever. But the moment it's seen, in that instant, that's not really an instant. In that split second, it's not really a split second. When it's seen that it's all emptiness, everything that was seen is unseen. Kind of like what they say, once it's seen, it cannot be unseen. Well, what it actually says is once it's unseen, that there is nothing that's seeing this, it cannot see again. Almost kind of like the opposite. Okay. Question here. Do you still have a sense of location? I really don't know what that means now. Location means this is just all boundlessness. This is boundless energy. Everything is just appearing and disappearing simultaneously for no one. There's never been anyone here. This is just a seeing, but no one seeing behind. This is just wholeness. So a sense of separation is an illusion. Kane, consciousness of Kane. Hi, Kane. Waiting for the day you show up without a shirt on, since people focus on you dressing up. Haha, dress down instead. Tomorrow at 6 o'clock, I'll be appearing shirtless. No, it's all just an appearance. It doesn't really matter. There's this character here that just dresses up like you dress up. There's nothing wrong or right about that. Everybody's just plain dress up anyway. And there's no one. How do you exactly... Okay, there's a question there again. Hi, Emerson. Is there really nothing me can do? Example, non-resistance and feeling all of emotions. there's no me, right? So what seems to be happening is just simultaneously, automatically happening. There's no time. This is timelessness. So in the dream, there's a perception and there's an idea that I am doing something, that I'm going somewhere, that the me has a trajectory, that a me is further along. I'm almost close to know me now. I've listened to 1,000 hours of these videos. There's almost it's just a story. So a story is trying to tell a story about how to get out of the story and telling how far ahead they are in the story. It's just a circular story. It's just a book of knowing. um, oh, hello, Robert. How are you doing? Oh, thank you, Sawdust, for dinner. There's a question here. Emerson, can you talk about romantic love? Oi. um, romantic love is just another idea. It's just another concept. It's a me concept of um, it's a desire. I don't really know what it is, to be honest with you. I really don't know what it is. It's just another concept. So this is an unraveling of all of those ideas of what romantic love is, what 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 it should be, what it shouldn't be. All of these definitions are just really trying to just really it's just a story. There's no relationships. There's no one here. Romance happens, apparently, but for no one. Romantic love happens, apparently, but for no one. Can you talk about seeing and once it is seen, it's unseen? Yeah, for sure. For sure. It's actually not seen. Again, we're just trying to use words here to describe something that is not this or not this. It's trying to describe something that's indescribable, right? So there seems to be a resonance of emptiness. There's a seeing. There seems to be a collapse of ideas and beliefs. That's seeing. There seems to be a destruction of hope. That's seeing. That's what's being expressed. Is that when at that instant there's this collapse or there's this mantling of all of the ideas and belief system and seeing that everything is just as is and no one can control what is. This is just as is. Everything is just happening, but happening to no one. Hey, Eric. Good to see you.
Hey, Emerson. Good to
How are
see you
you?
too.
Yeah.
I'm great. And yourself?
Awesome. Awesome.
Good, good. I just wanted to say I appreciate the clarity of the message here and just this feeling of it's not like there's anything to drop or any arms with which to drop a thing, but it's just like things are just what they are and you're just sitting here and there's air moving in and out of your body
Yeah.
and ideas percolating and whatever. And it's just like a little whirlpool, like, you know, the image of the hamster wheel and the hamster is spinning it, but really the hamster is dead and the wheel is just going. Yeah. There's that sort of a thing. So it's funny because I love to be here in these meetings, but I don't have any questions. I
Yeah.
just feel an enjoyment with the expression.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's just aliveness, and that's just this apparently. Um, and yeah, I don't know. I also can't say it's a relief either, but it almost feels like one when there really is no good or bad or right or wrong. It's just like as you said, it is as it is. So
It's
yeah.
obvious too, right? It's obvious that it's just as it is. And I was talking to someone earlier, when I was a little kid. Well, maybe this is just a story. When I was maybe a teenager, I used to get those Dymo sticker, where you can create your own labels.
Hmm.
And then I was obsessed with it. I was kind of like labeling Emerson's notebook, Emerson's pen, Emerson's diary, Emerson's, whatever. And then I was just kind of like, organizing, and everything was Emerson's book. And I would have my own library and everything. That's what it that's what seems to be happening, is that there is a labeling of everything when everything can't really be labeled. This is just
Hmm.
wholeness. Trying to label wholeness into this is that and this is still wholeness.
Yeah.
No amount of stickers, no amount of labeling can be labeled in something that's already whole.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Imaginary dividing lines.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's very interesting, like to kind of think about how not only are there no dividing lines that separate things from things or create anything at all, um, even on the surface, when there is an appearance of things, they're only that thing for a short relative amount of time. Like,
Not even a short. It just doesn't. It doesn't happen at all, because it happens and then happens simultaneously, appears and
mhm,
disappears. In the perception, there seems to be a short, or kind of like a pop and everything. But when there's this seeing, there's just a relaxation, because everything is unknown. So everything could be appearing or not appearing, and it's completely all right. It is what it is.
mm, yeah,
Yeah, just like this and not this.
yes,
Yeah, trying to understand it and not understanding it. It's also this.
hmm,
Yeah,
yeah. As a lot
yeah,
of folks will say, there's no escape.
yeah. It's almost like a retirement, right? There's this figuring out, trying to figure out, trying to get, and then when it's just there's no one doing it, but there's almost kind of like a surrender, but by
Hmm.
no one. There's just kind of like a white kind of like, kind of like raising the white flag and just saying, okay, all right, it's just
Right,
what is. But no one's doing that. It's just another story. It seems
right,
like that. Yeah,
right. It seems like that. Yeah,
it
the
seems like
surrender
that.
doesn't really happen.
No.
Surrender implies that there's someone to
Yeah,
release something.
yeah.
Uh, so yeah, it can't be understood. It's
It
like,
can't. It can't. Again, trying to. That's why these words are almost like wordplay, right? Because it is going back and forth, trying to negate something that cannot really be negated. I like that when you said at the meeting that it's moot.
mhm,
Yeah, it can't be agreed upon, because who's
yeah,
really agreeing? It's an unknowing, and before you figure out what unknowing is, or before kind of like trying to capture what unknowing is, that word is useless again. Or when you say it's
mhm,
indescribable, and then the seeker will try to understand what indescribable is. Oh yeah, it's indescribable. Then it's lost again.
yeah,
Yeah, it cannot be captured, because it's this. It's
hmm,
wordless.
right. Yeah, it
Yeah,
is. It is.
yeah.
And I think I I'm grateful for that. That there's this quality of an unnameable unknowableness. It's like you're right. It's like a retirement.
It is. Yeah, kind of. Again, we can't arrive at something, because the moment arriving at something, then it becomes an experience. It becomes there's no me, but seemingly what seems to happen is that it becomes that I am retired. The I
Right.
gets inserted. I am liberated. I am awakened, or something. And the moment it becomes that, then it's arrived at something, and then it thinks that it has something to offer.
Right.
Yeah. Since this is not capturable, there's nothing on offer here whatsoever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's no ones to offer anything to.
No, how can there be?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, lovely to chat with you, Emerson. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. Thank you, Eric. Lovely seeing you at these meetings.
Yeah, as well. You as well.
Oh wow, there's a whole bunch of. Okay, questions here. What about sex and reproducing? Sex happens, but no one has ever had sex. Sex happens, but no one's ever had sex. Reproducing happens, but no one's been reproduced. Uh, Robert goes, especially enjoying the unseen Andrea's video. Yeah, that was great, huh? Um, Thank you so much. Brady goes, from my point of view, there's an Emerson character that has something I don't have, and the me wants to find a path thinking there's a destination. Brady, as I said earlier, that this is a disruption of that idea that there's an Emerson here, that there's a Brady there. This is an interruption, that's something that can be figured out or found out or something that you can attain. Because what's being expressed here is cannot be disrupted. This is already complete. This is already whole. If there's no one here, there's also no Brady there. There's nothing that I can give you because there's no one to give it to. There's no path because all that there is this. As I said earlier, there's a seeming kind of like idea that there's a here to there. All that there is this exploding and imploding at the same time, apparently, but for no one. It's just automatically happening. So if it's automatically simultaneously happening, then the idea of something to attain or something to get derives from a time. So this is timelessness that's being expressed here in time. So it can't really be expressed in time. This is locationless. This is something that doesn't have any destination. So path implies that there is a location, that there's a here and there, that there's a here and there's a there. There's no one here and there's no one there. Question here. Thank you. From Consciousness of Cain. How do I go about telling the officer in the government that there is no one to pay the outstanding speeding ticket? Try it. I'm kidding. Again, in the dream of separation, this feels real. So, speeding tickets have to be paid, or it feels there's this sense of separation. There's this dream of separation or dream of real, that everything happens. So if there is a cut on my finger, this apparent character will go, get a band-aid. If there's a speeding ticket, if it doesn't want to incur fines, this apparent character will pay the speeding fines in the apparent dream. Thank you for reminding me I have to pay some stuff. But there's no one here. It's just paying the bills happening, paying the speeding ticket happening. I have this funny joke about this. This is really funny. There's a scientific. I keep on screwing this up all the time because I keep on screwing this up. I can't remember this, but there's this scientific testing that it was found out that there's no free will or choice by attaching the brain to a machine, an MRI machine or something. They were able to see that there's a 6 seconds kind of like ahead. So the machine will know if you will pick if you will pick left or right, or if you will pick coffee or tea. So I said, imagine if that free will converter, let's just say a free will converter, was put in an app on your phone. And you go to court and you say, well, according to the app here, there's no one doing this. This all happened by itself. There's no one here choosing to do any of this. I was actually talking, I was doing a one-on-one with a lawyer earlier today, and we were just laughing about the idea that, you take this to a court of law, because it will basically, this free will thing, that there's no one here, will collapse the judicial system. There's actually, there's findings, and this is just a story again, this is story mode. There's actually findings that there is no one, no self, there is no free will, there's no consciousness, and there's no time. So imagine going to the court of law and saying, well, according to the book and according to this app, there is no time, there's no self, there's no consciousness. And there's no jury here. There's no judge. Um, that's okay. Question here. I like nothingness answer carefully. What gender finds non-dual easier? There's actually, you know what? This is going to be so shocking. Since there's no one here and there's no one there, there's also no body. So figure it out. Does non-dual bring CD powers? This is again a disruption about these ideas that that this is power, that you can read minds or have the power of whatever. There's no such thing. There's no such thing. This is not about specialness. This is actually a great equalizer. When it's seen that there's no one here, that there's nothing happening, no one is special because everyone is dead. Sorry. Uh, hey, Emerson, do you have any stories around the koan? What is mu? No, I don't actually. I don't even know that one. I do have a story about thinking that what was being talked about, when I was listening to this communication many years ago, that it was in riddles, it was in koans. So I used to write down in notes, everything that I would hear from the radical, uncompromising speakers like Tony or Jim or Kenneth or Andreas, and then write it down and read it. And I would use different markers. I'm like, this is really important, like the yellow marker. And then the green one, stop here. And trying to see if there's something that I missed. But this communication actually is not communicating to a me. It's a disruption. It's a suggestion that there's never been a me. So trying to figure out something is a me function. Everything that there is this. There's nothing to figure out. What's being expressed here is fully available, but to no one. It's fully liberated, but no one is liberated. This is completely free, but for no one. Thank you for the question, though. Any aliens, non-dual being more advanced? If I tell you, I would have to kill you. I'm just joking. Anything can arise. Anything can arise. What seems to be appearing is just this. So any imagination about aliens and is just an arising of an idea of something and something advanced or something kind of like it's just another page in a storybook under fictional stuff. I really don't know. Isn't it non-duality message giving a show away? Nothing is having a wonderful game of forgetting and getting lost and thinking that it's someone just for kicks, for fun of that. Isn't it disruption spoiling the show by no one to no one? Disruption is just a word. There's nothing being disrupted. This is just an illumination. It's just another word for illumination that there's no one here. But there's in the dream or in the story, there's a big belief that there's someone here. So in the story, there's a disruption saying that, hey, that's just a story. Hey, that's just a dream. And there's no one here and there's no one there. This is all a story. So a story is telling a story that is a story to disrupt the story. That's basically it. But no one is disrupting here. Anne, how are you doing, Anne?
Hi, Emerson.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So I'm sitting here now and I'm thinking, oh, this isn't the right time to do this.
No worries.
But so I've got this like a lot of stuff going on at the moment.
Okay.
So it's really difficult to be in the not me space. It's like, because I know you kind of like that it's never a not me space. So there's always
keep on going. Sorry, Anne, go ahead.
Okay. I'm, I'm just finding it really difficult. I'm finding that a lot of things very difficult.
Mm.
Um, my cat died this morning,
Oh,
and that's why I'm thinking it's probably not a good time to do
no,
this.
no, it's all
But
right. It's all right. It's all right.
I'm finding it when you say that, because like because he was here, yeah. So
Yeah,
there was not no thing here.
yeah. Again, in the dream of realness, right? In the dream that everything is separate, the feelings of separateness also feels real. If I've said this before, I have a 16-year-old dog, and if my dog dies, you know what I'm saying? Although there's no one, there's no dog, there's no, even I say all of this stuff, there'll be sadness here. There'll be lots of crying,
Uh,
but it's not happening to anyone. When my when and that's all right. Everything. This is not a bypassing at all. This is actually the full expression of the character. There's no more filters to the character. So if it's going to cry, cry. Yeah. Or seeking help, for talking to someone, please call me. Yeah, if you want to talk more.
it's just
Yeah.
all. I am not. I'm not an emotional person. Um, so for me, character is not emotional, uh, and it finds it very difficult to. Uh, the me character has social anxiety. The me character has a lot of things going on that make everything difficult. Going in and out of this changes that,
Yeah.
and it. Do you understand what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah. 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 I always say this, that this is actually this communication doesn't help in the dream at all. It doesn't. It's not like therapy. It's not,
No.
it's not to relieve anything because it sees things quite starkly as nothing is happening, and it can be quite brutal. You know what I'm saying? So in the dream, if there needs to be talking to someone that maybe can understand, um, and it's quite all right. There's nothing wrong or right about that, right? Um,
Mhm.
this character is now also emotional, but apparently after the dropping away, when I was one of those kids that grew up with four kids, four brothers, so I was the eldest, and being Asian, I had to be tough and everything. So when this apparent when this apparent um, aunt passed away, it's even if you see sadness is even coming, it just bursted out in crying and sobbed and sobbed. The character never really cried much in the past, right? So when there's this seeing that there's no more filters, it's just what's happening. So sadness and grieving happens, but for no one. I want to give you a hug.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. There's a question here. Do you see a synchronistic quality to the infinite intelligence that seems to pull off this whole play of Maya? And do you experience yourself as the infinite? There's no one here to be synchronistic. This is just an infinity expressing as whatever. So there's no kind of like there's no myself here that experiencing as infinity. Everything is just this infinite expressing infinitely in this expression, whatever expression it is. And there's no this expression and their expression. This is all an expression of emptiness, simultaneously appearing and disappearing. Okay, there's a whole bunch. Sorry, YouTube. Sorry for. Was there an existential terror with Emerson prior to the apparent falling away? Um, as I said, this is a disruption of that story again. There was no Emerson that had terror. There's a story, apparently, there's a story that there was this apparent Emerson that went through suffering, but it's not a cause and effect. Again, as I expressed it earlier, once this is seen, it's like having a nighttime dream of terror or suffering, and then once it's seen, none of that happened. None of that existed at all. It's like a bad nightmare. When you wake up from a nightmare, there's this feeling of uneasiness or this apparent feelings or emotions. So when it's seen clearly that nothing ever happens, nothing happened in the past, nothing happens at all, everything that is arising is just this. There's nothing outside of this. So images about the past seemingly did not happen anymore because it's just seen as a fictional history. Okay. What is the difference between the character who pays for the parking ticket and the me that apparently falls away? No difference at all. No difference at all because there's no one. So there's no one that pays the ticket. There's no one that falls away. So there seems to be, again, this kind of like what I said in the beginning, this is a disruption in the belief system that there's a me and there's a you, that there's an Emerson, that there is the one that pays the parking tickets or falls away. There's no such thing. So no one falls away and no one has ever looked for this. Let's just make it clear. I've never spoken to anyone before. You've never listened to anyone before. Okay, sorry. The volume is crystal clear, but the sound is not loud. Sorry. Is that better? Okay. Thank you. Okay. Can you please talk about what is apparently happening or what has apparently happened in the past couldn't happen any other way because that's the way it apparently happens? Please think. Okay, let me just repeat that. Could you please talk about what is apparently happening or what has apparently happened in the past couldn't happen any other way? There's actually no past. So what you think happened in the past is just appearing as this, an apparent memory. There's no memory really. It's just an idea about the past appearing as this. So there's no before and after. There's no comparison. Comparison is just an idea as well. It's an illusion. So what's being expressed here is that there's no past. So what's appearing is just this. Wordless. This. And before you jump into any concept, it's BAM and not BAM. It's nothing and not nothing. It's not even opposites. It doesn't have any opposite. It's just this. Does the apparent character Emerson read books? No one reads books. Reading happens, but no one is reading it. If you want to, there was this story of this Emerson character that used to get 10 books, read 10 books at a time about non-duality and consciousness and awareness and everything. So there was this seemingly, hoarding of knowledge, hoarding of information, hoarding of different, this book from this great sage or this book from this master. When this seeing that nothing happens and nothing happened in the past, it's all a dream, it's all an illusion, the sameness of everything, there was a dropping away of learning. Because every single knowledge, every single belief is dismantled. Because it happened to a character. When the character is seen as unreal, everything that it knows, everything that it learned drops. So there's no more seriousness. If reading happens, but no seeking for something. The seeking has ended. There's just enjoyment. Eugene. Hi, Eugene.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Hi, Emerson. I just, let's see, how do I start this? Is it falling away and seeing that there is no one is like just like a story as I
Yeah.
think that there is someone?
Yeah. Because there's no one that falls away. No one that sees. It's
Right.
just seeing. Right? There's just, again, thinking that there's someone that falls away just reinforces the belief that there is someone.
But at
Yeah.
the same time, there is a difference because you said that learning happens, but there's
No one.
no one there.
Yeah.
So there's no more seeking. So that
No.
there seems to be a difference, even though you say that there's no difference. But both are just dreams then, I guess.
It's all a story, right? So there's no more this neurotic tendency to, hoard knowledge and learn everything or highlight every single quote that it thinks is important.
Right.
Reading is just happening.
Okay.
I really like cookbooks.
Okay. Right. But you see, that seems like a big difference because I want to learn things and I'm still on the track of hoarding knowledge and stuff. So that does seem like there is a difference.
Not really, because even this character used to jump from different things all over again. The only
Mhm.
difference is that there is no that seeking energy that needs to learn something. Everything is it's kind of like that seeker has
Mhm.
completely retired, basically, right? It's just really enjoying the cookbooks and everything. It might read something science, but it doesn't really have any interest in a lot of things. So whatever happens, right? Whatever it lands, it could be, oh, I read a couple of children's books that are really awesome. That was really awesome.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just this, it's almost like there's this, not really an unloveness, but an aliveness. Kind of like a childlike wonder to kind of like, oh, this is cool, and read it. There's no more kind of like filtered
Yeah, but
character.
I think when you say that, that's so very enticing because when you say childlike wonder, I go, wow, childlike wonder.
There's also childlike wonder there in seeking.
But yeah, but
But it's just a serious child.
there's
This
this,
childlike wonder is also a story, right?
yeah,
You're trying to make something into a story that's just
exactly,
basically being expressed.
exactly. Well,
Yeah.
I attach onto those things when I hear that there's no one
Who
and
attaches?
oh yeah, I mean, then I could just go on with my life being neurotic and seeking, and that would be the
Yeah.
same
Yeah,
because
that's
that's
just that. See, everything that is seemingly arising right now is just a story to try to explain a story and hoping that the story can be reinstated. So what's being expressed here is that calling that out as a story,
yeah.
illuminating that that's a story, and the storyteller is the same.
But who am I illuminating the story to?
No one. No one. That's what I'm saying. This is just what's happening. There's no one here. There's no one there. This is just infinite expressing as stories.
Okay,
Yeah.
but you still pay the parking ticket.
In the dream, yeah. Because you know what? In the dream, if you don't pay the parking ticket, then you get a bigger fine, or you get, As I
Okay.
said, you know what? In the dream, if there is a fire in the building, you're not
Oh.
going to say nothing's happening, no one's here. Surely you're going to experience, there's pain that's going to happen. So in
Right.
the story, the character will go call the ambulance or the fire truck
Right.
and get out of the building. It's not going to say that. It's just automatically happening. So there's no one choosing to get out of the building or read books or anything. It's just happening. There's no one that's saying that, oh, I should be reading this or whatever.
Right.
It's just what's happening. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
but you say enjoyment, and you
For no
enjoy
one. For no one.
or no,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
at the same
Like
time,
this. There's
yeah,
enjoyment here, but there's no one here. Like
right.
there.
You
Yeah.
you experience other things too. I'm sure you experience
There's no experiencer.
no
No
experience at all,
experiencer. Yeah.
but
Every,
anxiety might happen.
not
No,
really here. Not here. Yeah. There's in the story of Emerson, there seemed to be, But
Okay.
that's just a story as well, including this. This is also a story.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, I mean, my story continuing to be a story of a seeker, and no one's doing that either.
No, there's no choice. The story is just a story telling a story pointlessly, meaninglessly. It's like let's use the dream analogy, right? In the dream, the nighttime dream, dreaming happens, and then whatever happens in the nighttime dream, it's not really happening. There's no one there. There's no one choosing in the nighttime dream. There's this nighttime dream, and there's no chooser, there's no free will, there's no time, there's nothing happening, and there's no one there. There's actually no one that slept last night and woke up this morning. So this is a continuous dream, but with no dreamers in it. This is a singular dream without you dreaming it. It's just a dream. This is a dream, like a dream, but not really like a dream. It's really nothing and not nothing.
Okay. When you're
It's,
waking
it's
from
so
the dream, that's
no
not
one wakes up from the dream.
but
So
this
it's a
is
continuous dream, right? So how do you know that this is not a dream?
how do I well, there is no I, so
There you go.
how would I
There you go. There's no dreamer, so it's just a dream. There's an I that you think that it exists, right? So it's a dream. You just figured it out. You just contradicted yourself there, and it just pointed to what's obvious, that if there's an I here,
yeah.
and you said that there's no I, so it must be a dream.
Well, either way, if I say there's an I or there's no I, it's both a dream.
It is. It is. It's unknowable, actually, landing at something. That's why I keep on flipping back and forth, right? Because this is unknowable. This is the moment that you think that you know something, it's not.
It's not a head thing.
No, there's no head.
When you say knowable, yeah, that's the problem, because it's my head. But even my head is a dream, because
Everything is.
all these thoughts that are coming that I'm saying to you,
What thoughts?
well, they're dreams, I guess, too, but they're not.
Yeah. Are they real then?
Well, is there a real if everything's a dream?
No. So that's what the
So
disruption
either-
here is, that there's nothing real. There's
If-
nothing real. There's also nothing unreal. They're both. This is just an illumination that there is nothing happening. Kind of like in a dream when it's said that nothing is happening. Like a
Right.
dream. Does anything ever happen in a dream?
I enjoy some of my dreams, and I get terrified by some of my dreams.
But is it real?
Well, doesn't matter if it's, I'm experienced these feelings, and
Who's experiencing it? Who's the I?
matter if there's I'm still feeling the things I'm feeling. I would
That's all right.
like Anne crying about my cat. I would be that same person. I would experience those things. I think that gives zest to life.
Oh, this is, as I mentioned earlier, this is not a denial. As I said earlier, this character, if my dog dies, probably would be crying for days.
Right.
But it's what seems to happen is there's this no more filters, so sadness happens or erupts, but it's not happening to anyone.
Right.
Crying happens, but it's crying just happening.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
seems like the things that are happening, I have to say words.
Yeah,
Like
that's
to
cool.
you, they're happening more immediately. To me, it's like, okay, you ask this beautiful woman for a date. You won't even think about it. You wouldn't think, oh, am I dressed right? Or did I comb my hair? What does she think of me? You probably just do it because you wouldn't think about it. Whereas for me, but both things, I would think about everything. I'd be self-conscious about everything.
So you're trying to create a story now, something that is not really happening, and trying to make it something, and trying to superimpose something that you think that is happening here. But there's
Right.
nothing happening here, and there's nothing happening here, and
But
that's what's being pointed out.
okay,
These
but
are
what?
just ideas.
Okay, but
Yeah,
what are feelings then? Are feelings real?
like a burp.
Like a burp,
It's just what's happening. So, as I said earlier, we are quick to label things that are appearing as you seemingly separate, but all
right?
of this is just wholeness, appearing as feelings, appearing as whatever. I don't
Right.
even know the words for it anymore, right? These
Uh,
feelings, because it's just not. There's no more definitions. There's no more separation. So kind of like how I said this story before, when the finger was caught on a garage door, it
yeah,
was just painting itself. The
right.
finger turned purple and blue and everything, and there was just this
Right.
pain
Right.
pulsating seemingly, but it was not happening. So there was this bewilderment around it. I was like, this is really painful. But
Right.
there's no one, it's just pain happening. And there
Right.
was this endorphins and all of this stuff because it was just really painting itself. And then I laughed really, really loud and I said, this is probably why those S&M people like it.
Oh, that's a really unusual reaction.
Yeah, because it's not personalized anymore.
Right. So
It's
there
just
is a
seeing.
difference.
No.
That to me, that's what makes this so attractive. Because you're saying, gosh, I would be screaming and I'd be, oh my God, am I going to get an infection? I better go to the
I
doctor.
just basically express a story to you. So anything, there could be a screaming as well because pain is pain. If somebody
Right.
pushed this character, it will probably be like, "Hey, what the hell?" That
Right.
kind of thing, right? It's not gonna say, "Oh, there's no one here. There's nothing
Right.
happening and everything," because the dream again or the illusion is this feels real.
Right.
This is real, really happening. But what's it seen that this feels real is also emptiness. So that's emptiness painting. That's emptiness crying. That's emptiness. There's no separation. This is no separation at all.
Right.
Also meaning that nothing is happening. So nothing is happening as pain or
Hmm.
as screaming
Okay.
simultaneously. Not like becoming or whatever. Not there's no kind of like movement here. It's
Yeah.
just appearing simultaneously and spontaneously.
But is that a dream too, though? Is that any?
Yes. Yes. As I said, there's no way out of the dream. This is the dream. There's no dreamers here. This is just the dream dreaming itself. And that's just another, don't get caught up in that again. I can just say that this is blue.
Okay.
This is wordless, right?
Yeah. So all the labels I'm putting on that make me so neurotic and that make me want to
That's why this meaning is a disruption. It's even the word emptiness, infinity, nothing, anything that words that you think you know now actually is being disrupted, saying that that's not true.
anything I
It's
say.
wordless. Anything can appear. Anything and everything appears because it's really nothing.
So war and things on the news and
Again,
people.
in the dream, there's seeming like there's this big misconception that this is bypassing. So if there's war in the news and there's sadness that happens or anger that happens, it's
Mhm.
just what's happening. But really, it's emptiness and anger appearing simultaneously for no one.
For no one.
Yeah. So there's this concern, appearing out of nowhere. Again, we're putting labels into something that's unknowable. So there's
Right.
an apparent concern or but there's also it doesn't stick anymore. The sadness, even laughter. Laughter happens and it disappears because there's no one holding on to that anymore. It's like water off the duck's back. It just slides. It's like a Teflon pan.
Okay.
So when grieving happened in his character when my aunt passed away, there was a burst of sobbing and crying for about
Right.
an hour, and then after that, I'm like, oh. And then there's sometimes sadness appears, um, but for no one. It doesn't make it in story of like I should have called her, I should have done this because there's no one there. It's seen as a story. It's kind of like seeing someone die in a movie screen. You're not gonna call, you're not going to think that you feel guilty or shame about that. It's just what's happening. So there's no should have, could have.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, in a movie, you can walk out.
Yeah.
I mean, Emerson,
Again, movie. Let's not go to the movie analogy because let's destroy that right now. It's just a story trying to dispel a story, right? But that's a story as well.
So this thing talk about non-duality is also a story.
It is. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm a story trying to reach something.
There's no you. It's just a story.
Right, because I'm
Yeah.
a story.
No you. It's just a story. So this is a story.
Experiencing something in
No,
the
it's not experiencing, because experiencing is just,
experiencing is
it's
happening.
individualized. It's a story just storying itself. How's that?
Oh, that's not good. Aye, Emerson. What can I say?
Anything and nothing.
I
No
mean,
nothing.
anything is, if there's no good and bad, and if there's no levels, and this is all a dream, it's just pointless for me trying to reach someplace.
Again, you just made a story.
Right.
That's a story that's being exposed as a story. This is
Exactly.
wordless. Yeah.
But we have to use words, but all words
Apparently,
are
you don't actually have to use words. We can just sit here and
well,
we can count the tiles in the brick wall behind me, and it'll be the
that's
same.
true. Even silence is a dream.
Silence is just, again, don't get caught up in the idea of because no one knows what silence is. No one knows what a dream is either. So when the me thinks that it knows silence or a dream is, then it makes it into something that it's not. Again, we're just trying to use words that are actually completely meaningless. This is an energetic expression that this is a disruption of something that cannot really be disrupted.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
the one that's being disrupted is the one that's apparently causing this disruption, illusory disruption of something that cannot be disturbed.
Right.
Which is the peacefulness or the stillness that cannot be understood.
Okay.
Yeah.
Energetic expression. Where does the energy come from, and who is it expressing?
It's boundless, so it's not coming from anywhere.
Okay.
It doesn't have any separation.
I mean, Emerson, don't you have any interests that you've had before this dropping away? Have you seen that?
There's the character still plays piano for 4 hours.
Okay.
Still DJs and all kind of stuff. There's actually this aliveness.
Right.
Loves walks, loves, yeah.
You like movies? You like certain movies?
Yes. There's no more neurotic tendencies to kind of like, this movie is cool. I watched Spider-Man.
Oh, I was gonna ask.
Cool. Yeah.
Okay.
There's just no more kind of like critic, trying to say that this is, or even watches whatever. It's just a story.
But you would enjoy Spider-Man just as much as I would then.
No one enjoys the Spider-Man. It's just this character just watching Spider-Man. It's just watching. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Emerson.
All right. Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, Eugene. There's a ton of questions on YouTube here. Sorry, YouTube people. Yeah, it's just a bunch of comments. That's cool. Caroline, heads in the tiger's mouth now. I hate this message. There's no one that can choose to hate or not hate this message, just what's happening. Okay, just a whole bunch of comments there. There's a few questions here. Oh, wow, okay. Hi, Emerson. Why do some say everything is real and unreal? Would it be more accurate to say in Dreamless something like everything is only apparently real, but really there is nothing? Would you speak to real and unreal? Thanks. Again, these are just words trying to describe the wordless, right? So getting caught up in words, that's the way that I open up this apparent meeting, is just to disrupt that everything that you think everything that you think that appearing, because I've done many of these videos now, and seemingly what's happening is that people are holding on to the words. It becomes kind of like oh, this word is really relaxing. This is the me is getting somewhere here. The me feels relaxed, but holding on to those words is actually just another another reinforcing. Kathy, and I'll get to you, Mohammed. Go ahead, Kathy.
Hi, Emerson. How
Hi,
are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good, good. I just wanted to say that I really enjoyed your music video. Know
Oh,
me.
thank you. Thank you.
I I loved it. I loved the background music and the parameciums and the design in the back. It was really, really
Oh, thank you.
nice.
Actually, that's a guy named Jeremy Chillstep. So
Uh-huh.
he just created these videos and they're pretty cool. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was. I really enjoyed it. Got such a big laugh and enjoyed that. Keep it up, Emerson.
Oh, thank you,
Great
Kathy.
job.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Take care.
Take care. Mohammed. Hi, Mohammed.
Hi,
How are
Emerson.
you? How are you?
Thank you very much. My question is, the last goal for me is liberation.
Mm.
When the me listen to this message in this meeting, me cannot get anything from this meeting.
Yeah.
Can this lead to stop this seeking energy?
Well, I have a surprise for you, Mohammed. This is already liberation. So anything that you think, feel, or understand what liberation or what freedom is, it's already this. But it's not you that gets liberated because there's no you. Liberation doesn't need a you or a me. Liberation is just this. This is already freedom.
But this seeking energy,
It's just another idea. What seeking energy?
we don't see this liberation. we
So
look
you're
for
trying
it.
to come up with something to block liberation. This seeking energy, where is it?
Okay. When we listen to this meeting, can this stop this seeking energy?
No
Is
one's
this
here.
meeting
No
to
one's here
stop this
listening to this
seeking
message.
energy?
There's no seeking energy. It's already free. So I don't know what you're talking about. This is already freedom. But there's no one here in freedom. The idea that I will get liberated, that I will get liberation by listening to this message is blocking. It's disrupting.
Yeah, there is no me to be liberated. But
that's just another idea, isn't it, right? You just basically, the me just went underground and basically said that there's no me to be liberated. The no me became just another character. It's just liberation. It's just simple freedom. Not personalized freedom, not personal liberation, not even a no me liberation, because that's just another idea. It's just liberation. So whatever appears, it's liberation. Bondage is liberation. There's no duality. So when you perceive things as dualistic, there's no one choosing that. It's just what's happening. But when it's seen that the perceiver is seeing in dualistic, there's a lens of separation, then it sees a separation between me and freedom. Everything is appearing as freedom. There's no one that's not included in freedom because there's no one. So free is just free. It's always been free.
no, thanks.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mohammed. A knowing is story checkmate or story sober. Can you comment about that? Even the idea, again, you know what? Everything that you've heard about non-duality, every word that has been used, the word checkmate is just landing at another idea. The word story sober is just landing at another idea. When this what's being expressed is clarity, the moment that you think that there is, there's the moment that it becomes an idea, the moment that it's perceived by a me, then it becomes just another saying, doesn't it? It's just another story trying to dispel a story, but instead of dispelling the story, it becomes a story of what could be. It becomes a story to dispel a story, and it's just really a story. Everything is a story. This is the end of all concepts, including story sober or checkmate. Because who's going to be sober and is going to be checkmate? Again, it's this expression is just saying all of these words are completely meaningless. All of the concepts are completely meaningless. Everything that you've heard is completely meaningless. It doesn't have a purpose because what's being expressed here is completely wordless. But sometimes a character has to go to story and use words like that is to point out that it's a story. The moment that there's an understanding or a holding on to words like story sober or checkmate, then it becomes a me identification, a reinforcement of the story. I want to be story sober. I want to be checkmate. Again, this is a disruption of all of those ideas, all of those what's being expressed. There's nothing wrong or right about that. This is just a disruption of those. Because the moment that, there's, when someone's saying that, oh, this is nothing, this is not nothing as well. Putting labels into what a non-duality preference is, or putting labels or putting any specialness on any of the story or any of the characters, it's just reinforcing the characters as real. Nothing is what you think and nothing is negated. Yeah, again, these are just words. Eugene is back. Eugene, go ahead.
Hey, Emerson, again.
Hi.
Hey. Isn't the story liberation then? Isn't being blocked, and isn't that liberation too?
Again, we're just using stories to point out that everything is a story. Nothing is excluded. Everything is a story, including this.
Okay.
Yeah.
But why are we using words to describe the wordless?
I have no
Is
idea.
that counterproductive?
I have no idea. I have no idea what's happening. It's just what's apparently happening. There's this seemingly passion to talk about the wordless that can't be fully expressed, but there's this communication that's just appearing out of nowhere. This is just an appearance. This is not really happening. Nothing is happening. So by trying to, what I've been saying is, but trying to kind of like hold on to words, hold on to meanings, hold on to descriptions, or holding on to what other speakers say, regardless of who, including this speaker, is basically just being expressed that the one that's holding on to is the one that is disrupting this apparent seeingness that there's nothing lacking, that it doesn't need words or doesn't need ideas or concepts, or even ideas of breaking the concepts, because that's just another idea, that this is wordless.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, but then there is no difference between, there's no difference between someone who's caught in the story, who thinks that they're caught in the story.
There's no one in the story. It's just a story. Yeah, you're just trying to make it real by thinking that someone is caught in the story.
Right.
There's no choice, that there's no one making it real or unreal. It's just what's happening.
But even the seeing that there's no me, isn't that a story?
There's no me. Everything is a story, as I said. You know what I'm saying? I keep on repeating. Okay. The me and the no me is just a story. Any words that try to describe this is just a story trying to point out to the wordless. Okay. Even the word wordless doesn't really suffice as well, because people are trying to imagine what wordless. Basically, everything that I'm trying to express here is null and void.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear the word a lot, energy. It's an energetic
contraction, boundless.
I don't
Again,
know,
all of
energy.
these words, right, are
Yeah.
just really trying to point out to something that is inexpressible, right? Again, what seems to be noticed here is that there is this holding on to personalities and words and expressions as it becomes almost kind of like biblical or kind of like something kind of like dogmatic, right?
Yeah.
This is breaking all of that and basically saying that even this speaker here, break all the words. There's no one choosing. Don't believe anything. That's no one can believe or not believe or anything. What I'm
Oh,
just saying here is that these are all stories. This
right.
is just trying to trip up the story, that it's a story. And it believes in its own stories and keeps the story
Yeah.
going by believing other people's stories about so-called liberation.
But I
So
like hanging
words.
out with people like this.
Yeah, why not?
I mean, I don't go down to the local bar and hang out with people like, I mean, there is a somewhat of an interest here. And I mean, it's everybody has different. I mean, I come to this because of this intellectual
You don't
interchange.
actually come to this.
Well, and then I listen to, well, I have to say but I listen to
Right.
constantly. I listen to certain music because I enjoy the certain music. I mean,
There's no difference actually.
okay.
Yeah.
But I feel it. I mean, there's a feeling of difference that's happening, if I could say it. You know,
Seems to be. Yeah.
yeah. But I don't know what makes it a difference if I have to construct it in the way that I say that this is happening and that there's no one there, and saying that I know that there's a contraction when I say that there's an I here, when I
How
feel
do you
that
know?
I here. Well, there is no I, you say,
Yeah.
but you can't say that because there's no you.
Yeah.
But these are gymnastics, and I'm trying to get to that energetic expression that you're
Let's
saying.
be
I know that.
expressive. It doesn't have to be gymnastics. It doesn't have to be because that's just a story, the gymnastics of how hard it is. Even
Right,
saying that it's very simple is another story. It's just what is
right.
apparently appearing as this and not this. It's everything that's appearing is this and not this. Trying to capture it in words and trying to capture it in phrases and this kind of like new phrase, you know what I'm saying, is just trying to limit the limitless.
Yeah, but we're
Yeah.
talking about it. We're talking.
Yes.
We're
It's
spending hours talking
oh,
about it.
I know, I know.
And it's
I know.
so
It's just what's
attractive.
happening.
But yeah, well, all right.
Thank you, Eugene.
You're welcome.
Petra.
Hi, Emerson.
Hi.
I was listening to last Sunday recorded. Epic, yeah. But
Yeah.
then this contraction come back, and it it feels like I'm still so dependent what's going on in some kind of outside. It's a stupid story, I know.
But
How-
the story will keep on storying, right?
as long
The
as
story.
someone believes in it, huh?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no one in it. It's just a story. It's just like it's just a storybook unfolding or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's no one doing it. There's no one reading it. It's just what's happening. And there's this seemingly preference in just this emptiness or something. Again, that's why I'm saying don't hold on to any of this stuff because there's going to be a preference. So seemingly even this contractedness is also emptiness. There's no difference. All that there is this, and there's nothing outside of this. So what is apparently happening is being labeled at not this and this. I prefer this and this. When it's seen that there's a preferer or someone that is a witnesser, but it's actually not really there, it's seen as just a happening. Even if it's not preferred, it's just a happening. So it doesn't have power. Because when a story happens, if a storyteller thinks that it's happening to a storyteller, then it cycles the story over and over again.
And it doesn't help when I say it's just happening for no one. Ha, ha,
Yeah,
ha.
that's why this is a disruption of all of those sayings, right? When it's just even saying that this is just what's happening to no one else, when it becomes an idea, a belief, a concept, then it's actually quite painful.
Yeah, right, right.
Because that's why, like,
Yeah.
when people are mentioning all of these words that, this character is also guilty of it, of using words that are disruptive. But the moment that it becomes this meaningful, disruption, or something that is a preference, that, oh, I like what Emerson says, this. That's why there's this character here that is like a rebel and say no, because it's holding on to something that cannot be held on to. So even there's nothing happening here is something that becomes a belief system. It becomes something that well, if there's nothing here, it becomes a mantra.
Mm.
What's the difference of this and saying Om Namah Shivaya? It just becomes something that's supposed to comfort you, but there's no you to comfort.
Yeah.
There's no you that can choose.
Mhm.
It's just what's happening and not happening. That's why I keep on flipping it back and forth, because but even when someone holds on to these words, then it becomes a quote.
As soon as
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
As soon as it comes to pain, it gets totally personal, and the contraction is
Because the pain becomes a story.
right.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong or right about a story. It's just a story. But when there's the believer and the belief that the story is happening to me rather than just happening, and there's nothing wrong or right about that, it's just seemingly that there's this the drama becomes owned. The pain becomes personalized.
Right.
It's like mine, yours, mine, yours. So it
With a
becomes
long story.
a play of duality, which is what is, But when it's seen that pain is also infinity and emptiness home. Pain is home. And then it's seen that it's not something that is it's not a story anymore. Well, no one can choose or not choose to do that. It's just what seemingly happens. So when there's an apparent this emotion or feeling that rises, it's not separated by claiming it as mine. So there's this misconception that when there is an ownership, then there's wholeness. No, actually it's separating, because what's appearing is already dead. Being kept alive by adding it's a happening and unhappening by adding a narrative into it. It's just aliveness and death appearing simultaneously.
What
no
else?
Yeah.
Plus Alexa.
Plus Alexa. Yeah, it's just an advanced Alexa.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. We'll talk soon, Petra. Thank you for sharing. The desire to use words was just disrupted. Thank you, George. All right. I think, I think all the questions have dried out for now anyway. I would like to thank you. No one is there, but that's gratitude for apparent characters. So thank you so much, everyone on YouTube.